Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the University of Strathclyde here in the magnificent Barony Hall for a very important day indeed for our graduands as they currently are, and over the next hour will become Strathclyde University graduates. A very warm welcome to families, friends and supporters, and I'm sure that you will enjoy the event. For those of you that haven't been in Glasgow before, this is a very typical spell of weather that we're having. That probably means 4 seasons in a day rather than the sun that we're currently enjoying, but fingers crossed, we hope that the weather stays clement for the rest of the afternoon. On these occasions, we occasionally have some added value and a treat by having some honorary graduate recognised. And today we have a wonderful, highly achieved engineer who will be joining the Strathclyde community shortly, and that's a great friend and highly accomplished engineer, Dame Anne Dowling, about whom you will hear some more in a moment. So we'll do that at the start of the ceremony, and then we'll move to the graduations, and then we'll have some reflections, because this day in particular, as well as the graduation, has been rather momentous for a number of occasions, and we might reflect on that briefly before we close. But with that, enjoy the day, and I now declare the congregation formally open. Thank you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present to you Professor Dame Anne Dowling. Dame Anne is a well-renowned authority on research and education, particularly in relation to acoustics and vibration, combustion and unsteady fluid mechanics. Dame Anne is the current president of the Royal Academy of Engineering and the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cambridge. She became a Cambridge Research Fellow in 1977 and has remained at the university ever since, including visiting research positions at MIT in 1999 and Caltech in 2001. In 1993, she became the Department of Engineering's first ever female professor, and in 2009, she became the head of the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge. Her research publications range from problem-defining fundamental papers to descriptions of the technology behind successful practical applications. Recognition of her research achievements is illustrated through her election to Fellowship of the Royal Academy of Engineering in 1997, the Royal Society in 2003, as a foreign associate member of the French Academy of Science in 2002, of the US National Academy of Engineering in 2008, and of the Academia Europaea in 2009. She was appointed CB for services to mechanical engineering in 2002, and DB for services to science in 2007. In 2015, Dame Anne was admitted to the Order of Merit for her exceptional service in advancing the field of mechanical engineering. The Order of Merit is the personal gift of the Queen. It recognizes exceptional service towards the advancement of arts, learning, literature, and science, and is limited to just 24 living recipients. Dame Anne's research has been important in developing a fundamental understanding of combustion oscillations in ducted flames. Unsteady combustion was a major technical challenge for gas turbine manufacturers, causing long and costly development times and component failure. Dame Anne's work has led to an understanding of the flame's response to flow unsteadiness, which, when combined with descriptions of the duct acoustics, have led to useful predictions for the onset, frequency, and amplitude of oscillations. This has helped the design of stable combustion systems. Dame Anne has also demonstrated that active feedback control is a powerful way of eliminating the damaging interactions that lead to instability. She developed robust and adaptive control strategies that continue to work effectively through changing operating conditions. These techniques are now being pursued by a number of manufacturers. Dame Anne was also the first to identify that sound generated by flow near a surface is substantially modified by surface compliance, the boundary layer, and surface properties combining to act as a waveguide that significantly alters the measured field. She went on to show how these effects could be controlled by an appropriate choice of surface coatings, which are now used routinely on submarines and are responsible for significant improvements in sonar performance. These ideas have also been extended to optimize the mechanical structure of acoustic aerials and have been applied by the offshore oil industry to enhance the range of seismic testing equipment. For her work in underwater acoustics, Dame Ann was awarded the A.B. Wood Medal by the Institute of Acoustics. Professor Dowling also led the Cambridge MIT Silent Aircraft project, which published a radical new design concept called SAX-40, a novel ultra-noise fuel-efficient aircraft. Over 30 stakeholders in aviation, including manufacturing industry, airport and airline operators, regulators, and air traffic controllers supported that research. In 2006, Dame Ann received the Aeroacoustics Award from the Confederation of European Aerospace Societies for outstanding contributions in the field of aeroacoustics. Dame Ann has always been engaged in outreach activities, including talks with lots of demonstrations for school children, preparing major exhibits about the silent aircraft, which have been displayed at the Royal Society Summer Science Exhibition in 2007 and at the Science Museum in London in 2008. She is also a patron of the Women's Engineering Society and delivers numerous lectures to engineering and science groups. In 2004, she chaired the widely respected report produced jointly by the Royal Academy of Engineering and the Royal Society on nanoscience and nanotechnologies, opportunities and uncertainties. The report highlighted the need for responsible regulation and research around the use of materials at an extremely small scale. She is also a non-executive director of BP, a non-executive member of the board of the Department of Business Innovation and Skills, a panel chair for the Research Excellence Framework, and also being noted as one of the 100 most influential women in the UK in 2013. Dame Ann is an outstanding leader in our profession, and for today's graduates, an outstanding role model to follow and take inspiration from throughout their future career. We are very pleased to have Dame Ann here today, and it is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, that with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Professor Dame Ann Dowling the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
I create you Doctor of Science honoris causa. Wonderful to have you joining Strathclyde today, Anne, and we look forward to working you closely in the future. Many congratulations.
Thank you. Vice-Chancellor, ladies, gentlemen, and graduates, thank you so much for the honour that you do me in giving me this degree from the University of Strathclyde. I very much appreciate it, and I'm delighted. You have such a strong reputation as a technological university with an international outlook. I really appreciate the kind words from the Dean of Engineering that he said about me, but in a way I feel a bit of a fraud because engineering and engineering research are team activities, and I've had the opportunity to work with some great colleagues and research students, and this award or the kind words really recognises their achievements as much as it does mine. But really today's ceremony is all about you, the graduates of 2016. Congratulations to you all, and each of you should be really proud of what you've achieved. It's a good time to think back to the start of your course and how you've developed since then. You'll know a lot more about engineering, I hope, but you will have developed personally in so many other ways too. And there's no doubt, I'm sure for many of you, probably most of you, there have been some difficult times along the way, but your success here is due to your personal drive, but also due to the help you've had from your family, friends, teachers, and other university staff who will have supported you. And as we go through this ceremony, this is a time to let them know that you appreciate what they've done for you. You graduate into a world that today looks a bit more uncertain than it did yesterday following the outcome from the referendum. But one thing is certain: engineers will be crucial in providing the stability and a secure economy. Engineering currently contributes at least 20% of the UK's gross value added and accounts for half of our exports. With your degrees, you have a huge range of opportunities and careers available to you. The world desperately needs people with your knowledge and skills if we're going to overcome some of the big challenges that society faces. The challenge of supplying energy, food, and shelter in sustainable ways to a growing world population, who quite rightly aspire to the standard of living that we enjoy in the developed world. The challenge of minimizing and adapting to climate change, and the challenge of building or restabilizing economies based on real jobs, producing products and services that people want. Engineers are fundamental to developing solutions to these challenges, solutions based on innovative ideas, but solutions that are aspirational but rooted in pragmatism. It was suggested by your Vice-Chancellor that I use this opportunity to give you some advice for the future. Advice is always a dangerous thing to dish out, but I'll give it a go. So my advice is, number one, find something that really interests you and that you're good at, and then you'll find that work will be a pleasure, at least most of the time. Nearly all real achievements involve teamwork. Work collaboratively and support colleagues. It's good to have a vague plan of how your career might develop, but don't stick to it. Opportunities will come along that exceed anything you might imagine, and when they do, just grab them. And finally, you may think that your education is completed with the degree that you're going to receive today. That's not correct. The body of knowledge is constantly developing, and the skills and the techniques that you need will change with time. Life is a continual learning experience. Enjoy it.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Architecture, Saeed Mazir Husseini Motla. Paula Passino. For research in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Siriporn Boriruk Wizitsak. Anna Kaczowska. Neil Wiley Kemp. Alemtsehi Gebremeskel Seyum. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Manufacturing, Technology and Systems, James David Hearn. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Structural and Architectural Engineering, Andrew Robert Blackie. Lauren Cherry. Claire Margaret Corns. Megan Victoria Gregg. Darren Knight. Daphne Kulitsa. Darren McIntosh. Jamie Neil McNichol. Nicola Marie Murray. Alexander Charles Volkmar Nix. Dylan Parkinson. Brodie Alexander Wallace Patterson. Man Sang Sin. Jamie Sutherland. Mandy Wardrop. Christopher Weir. In civil engineering, Gordon Robert Best. Lewis Thomas Bradley. Christopher James Callahan. Christopher Clark. Paul David Curry. Ryan Lee Doolan. Simon Thomas Duff. Umar Farouk. Paul Francis Fitzpatrick. Colin Douglas Fleck. Scott Gill. David Gillen. Ross Gillis. Max Hepburn. Alan Howie. Andrew Hunter. Andrew Irwin. Nicholas James McCartney. Ewan Andrew McCorkindale. Scott Ballantyne McLean. Lewis Jack MacLeod. Laura Elizabeth McTaggart. Damien Francis Macklin. Jamie Lachlan Morrison. Donald Mowat. Mohammed Othman. Stephen Craig Patton. Graham Alistair Reid. Ben James Shields. Duncan Suter. Nicola Marie Stevenson. Ross James Stewart. Donald Mackay Sutherland. Jonathan Peter Truslove. Sarah Gail Williamson. In Civil and Environmental Engineering, Finn Curry. Michael John Ferry. Gabor Pukovic. Patrick Allen Rose. Jack Chung Wells. Adam White. In Product Design Engineering, Caroline Elizabeth Brown. Yi Mei Chow. Mandy Chung. Mohammed Hassim bin Fakri. Douglas James William Fleming. Joey Ho. Ryan Logan. Benjamin McInnes. Connor Mackay. Glenn McMurtry. Marie Louisa Douglas Mitchell. Michael Northcote. Peter William Mark Stewart. Alice Jane Tate. Angus Andrew Robert Thompson. Sarah Thompson. Ryan Toomey. Amy Walker. In sports engineering, Robbie Stoddart. In production engineering and management, Alexander Harris. Stephen Francis McLaughlin. Scott Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Structural and Architectural Engineering, Sean Kerr Connolly. Kenneth Hawthorne. In civil engineering, Mary Sheila Porteous. Bradley Hall. Ross Joseph McBride. Paul McGill. Alexander Donald McNally. In civil and environmental engineering, Kieran Carlin. In product design engineering, Louise Susan Anderson. Katie Louise Craig. Catherine Elizabeth Haynes. Roderick Lyle. Max Harper Monroe. Gemma Caroline Webb. Eric Cookjol Williamson. Rachel Margaret Armit. Alison Margaret Young Craig. Samuel Anthony Gary. Kirsten Bernadine Gribben. Ka Chun Ho. Natalia Anatolievna Korzhuk. Dunvegan Ross Say. Liam Taylor. Daisy Jane Tideman. Jianyang Zhao. Maria Simone Connolly. Gavin Ferguson. Thomas Michael Marmion. Andrew William Rethman. In sports engineering, James Peter Cassidy. Timothy Elizondo. Craig Haglington. John Douglas Reed. Gregor Thompson. In production engineering and management, Kate Alexandra Cameron. Lewis Kalman Faber. Alexander McPhail. Philip Robert Schneer. Gillian Margaret Swarbrigg. Jack Taylor. Richard John Trotter. Murray Weir. In Engineering Studies, Casey Stewart Cochrane. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies, Jennifer Ann Freeman. Ross Greer. Megan Louise Grierson. Joanne Catherine Kinloch. Mark Lado Hillis. Tina Susanna Lund Ricard. Laura Gail Purdy. Douglas Ritchie. Rachel Helena Ronaldson. Rebecca Traynor. Fraser Frank Yardley. Kar Mun Chong. Georgina Rose Coleman. Joanne Cowan. Sean Fitzpatrick. Lewis Michael Gallagher. Erin Gilroy. Craig Daniel Higgins. Mikhail Che Yang Ip. Anastasia Carvella. Christos Kolakidis. Lee Yun Ying. Luke Lim Kok Yong. Brett Lindsay. Jacek Pavel Minarzik. Corey O'Reilly. Leo John Short. Mantas Skirmantas. Amy Traynor. Khalid Ismail Ali. Mikhail Boschko, Julia Louise Fletcher Hansen, Victoria Malikia, in Architectural Studies with International Study, Alexander Oramenko, Annabelle Joy Brading, Kirsty Marita Sinclair Cadger, Ross Cameron, Lucy Christine Cassels, Gina Marie Coley, Lauren Margaret Izzet, Yonita Karablikova, Ingrid Andrea Kovacs, Shona Mary McVicker, Mara Faisal Ramadan, Laura Satterthwaite, Christine Claire Turnbull, Karina Kristova Velikova, Mairead Bolger, Karolina Brozinska, Denica Hristova, Elizabeth Ellis Hunter, Mihaela Stoyanova, in Product Design and Innovation, Stefan Adam, Ian Broadhead, John Joseph Duncan, Jaren George, Megan Hendry, Callum John Kettles, Ewan McDermott, Joshua Mackenzie, Roderick Callum McClellan. Robin Elizabeth McRae. Katie Oldfield. Graham David George Reed. Kyle John Robertson. Alex Madison Speed. Natalie Lauren Britosek. Amy Catherine Brown. Connor Charles Buchanan. Lauren Cassidy. Ian MacDonald Fraser. Stephen Gillan. Jason Henry Gilmore. Lewis Hogg. Christopher Miller. Rachel Allison Ann Nisbet. Emily Kate Sloan. Andrew Lewis Tyler. Vari Elena Ward. Ross James Williamson. Alyssa Wilson. In Architectural Studies, Victoria Scott. In Architectural Studies, Lynn Anna Mathilde Opsal. Joanna Tomaszewska. Hermina Zemitait. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering, Faisal Abdul Samad Madali.
It got very quiet all of a sudden there. I think we should have a trade-off between the architects, the civil engineers and the designers. I think I know who won that, but anyway, that was great, and thanks very much to everyone for making that such an enjoyable part of the event. But let me once again, ladies and gentlemen, reiterate our welcome to this important ceremony. A day that none of you will forget, and neither should you. It marks the successful conclusion of years of hard work, and now you've graduated in front of your proud families and friends. And you should have the satisfaction that you're beginning the next stage of your lives equipped with an excellent education and a top quality student experience. And of course, a Strathclyde degree, which is a valued passport for your future careers. And I'll reflect on that. Dayman spoke about the world that you enter now. Of course, the world is always full of uncertainty and challenge. But that's when the innovative, the talented, the enterprising can do really important things. And without reflecting too long on it, the result that we had this morning has changed the world a little bit. But of course, these things happen all of the time to our graduates. And you are now graduates. You were graduands an hour ago. Now you're graduates. The uncertainty that we face in Europe will change. It will change things. It will change opportunities. And the next few years, we'll have to position ourselves to make sure that we still play a very important part in the world and continue to play an important partnership role with Europe. So we're not suddenly cut adrift. But what I will say to you, as you enjoy this important day, and to your parents in particular, who have strived hard to make sure that your education is supported, that they're there to give you every possible help. Strathclyde remains very strong. We remain very strongly connected to governments both in the UK and beyond, and we work very strongly with our industrial partners. And industry look for talent. And the Strathclyde community of engineers, as we have today, are valued internationally. So whilst we have a period of uncertainty, that uncertainty, I'm sure, will still bring its opportunities, and that Strathclyde will be standing alongside you, and we will continue to make sure we do everything we possibly can to support your development, as will your parents. So your graduation day is important first and foremost for your achievements, but it's a date that will be remembered by lots of people for lots of things, and you can mark that in your diary as we remember the impact as you go forward in your careers. But we also said that we have many visitors from overseas. We've got people from all over the UK, but I'm delighted also from all over the world, and we're delighted to see you joining in our celebrations today. For me as presiding officer, it's always a great honour to perform the capping exercise. It's a simple but ancient ritual, rooted variously in China of some 2,000 years ago, in the Middle East, ostensibly to mark transitions into adulthood. And today, it marks you crossing the gateway into the next part of your lives. And for each of you, when the cap touched your head, when I ruined a few hairstyles, it was a formal acknowledgement of your work. It recognised the days spent in the lecture theatres, laboratories, the nights in the library, and of course, ultimately, the passing of your examinations. Thomas Edison, the famous American inventor and industrialist, said that, and I quote, "Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration." But I'm sure in the Strathclyde students' case, those percentages might have been a little bit better balanced. But today, you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of our torchbearers, like many generations of graduates before you. Strathclyde students are some of the UK's most highly sought after by employers, including, amongst many others, Rolls-Royce, Siemens, GSK, AstraZeneca, the architectural practices that you will work with, the construction companies, the design agencies, and of course we work with many others in the public and private sectors. And a recent survey, and bearing in mind your journey begins now, it'd be interesting for you to know that Strathclyde sat comfortably inside the top 5 UK universities that produced chief executives. So bear that in mind and use that as a springboard for your future ambitions. And with all that you've successfully come through now, I would hope you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the support and encouragement of your families and friends. It is fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates, and indeed the university at large, owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. It's the first in my own family to have gone to university, as it happens here at the University of Strathclyde in the Faculty of Engineering. I know precisely what the support of a family means and the round help of your families. And I'm sure that now our graduates of today and indeed our university staff, would like to take this opportunity to thank your families, friends and supporters for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. Sir Isaac Newton, the famous physicist, said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." So graduates, there are no doubts that your families and friends have provided their shoulders for you to stand on. And indeed for our academic staff too, this is a very important day because your success is their reward. And Strathclyde has worked very hard to make sure that we provided you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So now let me invite our graduates to join with me in thanking our staff for all that they have done to support you in your journey and achievements. Thank you. You should be aware that the University of Strathclyde was established in 1796. This is our 220th anniversary this year. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. And we were established, and I quote, "for the benefit of all mankind." And it is worth noting also that we were the only higher education institution in Scotland to be established during the time of the Enlightenment. A real distinction for Strathclyde at that time of challenge, newness, universities connecting to society, and indeed economy, although it wasn't thought of as such in those days. And we are now driving our modern strategy forward in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, Professor John Anderson, a physicist or natural philosopher, as he would have been in those days, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic. Franklin was one of the founders of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, using the motto of useful knowledge. And this directly influenced our founder, John Anderson, and resonates beautifully with Strathclyde's motto of useful learning. And never has this philosophy been so relevant since our establishment over 200 years ago. And the motto, known by all of our staff and our students, still defines our purpose as an international technological university. And across the campus and in the buildings that many of you will have passed today on the way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight diseases and illnesses. For example, only this week, one of our university spin-outs, a company called Myronid, raised almost £5 million to help fund the development of drugs to tackle degenerative kidney disease, cancer and inflammatory disease. Strathclyders are also producing energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We are making a contribution to the revolution of global manufacturing and helping to create the fourth industrial revolution, or the so-called Industry 4.0. Our students continue their work in Africa to establish water and power supplies and to deploy healthcare systems for remote communities. They're bringing prosthetic limb technologies to those in need in India. Many are working to inform public policy and national economic strategy, and they're providing people and their families with opportunity to transform their lives. And as I referenced earlier, we still attract many first-generation students to the University of Strathclyde. And finally, we are giving business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative, more productive, and to promote economic growth, and to create jobs that provides all of us with a quality of life that is more sustainable and healthy. And these are some of the reasons that we've had a terrific sequence of independent recognition of what we do and how we do it. Just over the past 4 years, we've won the Times Higher Education UK Project of the Year. We were the UK University of the Year, immediately followed by becoming the UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year. And with regard to education, in the most recent Teaching Quality Assessment, we were delighted to achieve the highest possible ratings for our teaching quality and methods. This was acknowledgement of our commitment to the providing of our students with the best student experience in education. And only 18 months ago, in the National UK Assessment of Research Quality, or REF as we call it, this was published and happens at a cycle of every 5 or 6 years. We were pleased with the developments that demonstrated in Strathclyde's journey. For example, we have the #1 physics department in the UK for research quality. We are 4th for both chemistry and pharmacy and biological sciences. 7 of our 8 engineering departments are in the top 10 in the UK, 3 in the top 3 with 4 of them number 1 in Scotland. We have a world-class business school, now moved to number 6 in the UK, and our humanities and social sciences are doing exceptionally well. Government and public policy, law, social work and social policy. So absolutely integrated across our university as we build new knowledge and as we seek to apply it. So Strathclyde continues to demonstrate the ability to have disproportionate impacts, first and foremost through the production and support of you, our excellent graduates and postgraduates, but also in the quality of our research and the highly effective ways we create value and impact through the transfer of our knowledge with industrial and public sector partners. And it should be clear to all of us on that evidence base that the Scottish higher education sector is fulfilling an important role as a driver for sustainable economic growth, and Strathclyde has a distinct role in this national and international objective. Universities must be seen as a national investment, and with the Scottish Government currently investing around £1.1 billion in higher education here in Scotland, the sector delivers back over £7 billion worth of value into our economy each year. And in a recent independent review of Strathclyde University, we were expected to deliver, just from this place, additional economic value of around £1.5 billion to the Scottish economy over the next 5 years, one of the highest contributors in the sector. And how do we do that? Well, for example, this time last year, we were honoured to welcome Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness Prince Philip here onto the campus to open our £100 million Technology and Innovation Centre that sits between George Street and Ingram Street, a construct that's trying to revolutionise the way in which academics, industry and public sector work together, with some 700 academics and researchers working closely with industry on pharmaceutical manufacturing, applied photonics, plasma physics, space technology, informatics, energy technology and aerospace engineering. I mentioned Edison earlier on. Thomas Edison called his technical team and laboratories his inventions factory. The Technology and Innovation Centre is becoming our innovations factory, and certainly the achievements of the Faculty of Engineering over the past year reflects that ambition and progress in great measure. And I have given a cut here to summarise many of the fantastic achievements. Let me give you a taster of what's happening. First of all, starting with our students. In the Formula Student Programme, this is where students from all over the UK and Europe build racing cars, you know, the electromechanical systems, the drives, the fabric of the cars themselves. And from Strathclyde, a team of 40 students from the Faculty of Engineering and the Strathclyde Business School finished as the Scottish top team at the UK event at Silverstone, and indeed the top UK team at the event in Germany 2 weeks later. Fantastic. I must look out for Chris Evans on the campus in the next couple of weeks. DMEM, one of their students, Carmen Comiskey, was awarded a Sports Innovation Award for her adjustable body protector for horse riding. Jack Barry, a PhD student from Civil and Environmental Engineering, is among only 19 worldwide students to have been awarded a place in the prestigious Schmidt-MacArthur Fellowship, created by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And Jack joins students now from other leading universities, including Yale, Imperial College, Stanford and MIT. Professor Zoe Shipton, who's on the platform with us this afternoon, Head of Department in Civil and Environmental Engineering, was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, and her own expertise has allowed us to make leading contributions, as she is an authority on shale gas extraction known as fracking. Strathclyde received £2 million worth of support from Scottish Government to help improve access to safe water supply in Malawi, and the boost in hydronation support for the Climate Justice Fund is designed to improve the lives of people in Malawi to make clean water more widely available. We recently launched our new Advanced Nuclear Research Centre, now led by Professor John Baxter, who was most recently the Group Head of Engineering at BP. And our students, again, in Civil and Environmental Engineering, have developed a drone fitted with a thermal camera to monitor buildings' energy efficiency. The students, Americo Pino, Ken Brooksbank and Kai Pham, have now started a spin-out company called Drone Wrangler, aiming to commercialise the concept to apply their methods to industries such as energy, agriculture and construction. And we should say also about the Department of Design, Manufacturing and Engineering Management. We have the Advanced Forming Research Centre. You probably see it on an annual basis when you're flying in and out of Glasgow Airport. This is a £150 million research hub where we're trying to work to revolutionise aerospace manufacturing in partnership with other universities and industry across the UK, working on forging and forming new materials. And this is looking to act as the base for what is soon to emerge, the National Manufacturing Institute. From the Department of Architecture, this department has just made 3 new appointments to create an internationally leading cluster in architectural technology, positioning us at the forefront of building information modelling. And 2 of our architecture students were recognised through the award of the Amer Kelt Prize for their design project work in South America. So lots more we could share with you, but most importantly, this is the exciting context within which you should view your awards. You are now graduates of a university that places students at the heart of all that we do, that values education and research excellence, and that supports close connections with society at large and the business world. And with regard to internationalisation, the very best universities in the world collaborate, compete, and contribute on the international stage, and we are no different. And for example, we have strong high-quality research partnerships in the United States, where our key partners are Stanford, MIT, and New York University. In China, we're working with Tsinghua University and Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, from whence I have just returned on Wednesday. In Singapore, Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore. And we currently have a raft of high-quality partnerships across Europe, something that we'll be driving as an imperative after today's results, that we continue to invest and create the conditions for the movement of our students, for the support of our current EU staff that are working on the Strathclyde staff, the European students that are here, the European students that are across Europe, and we must make sure we keep investing in that and creating the spaces and the conditions and the policy that allowed us to continue to drive forward research and education within and alongside and in partnership with our European partners. But of course, our students benefit directly from being part of an international university. It helps them emerge with the skills so necessary to help Scotland play its full part in the world. They've been exposed to different cultures and traditions as we attract from students from over 100 countries. But most importantly, today, graduates, you leave here understanding your obligations as global citizens. But as well as growing our international impact, we take our local responsibilities very seriously. I have the privilege of chairing an entity called the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board. We gave very significant support to the City of Glasgow winning their city deal just over a year ago, £1.2 billion investment in this city. I chaired that with leaders from business and industry, and we're seeking to capture the same excitement and focus that our forebears and the merchants of the end of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century brought when we were the second city of the empire. And we're now driving growth in jobs, in innovation, and new sectoral activities in life sciences, low-carbon energy, manufacturing, and of course finance and business. We also remain, with some pride, the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening access to our programmes for students from some of the most challenged backgrounds in Scotland. And some 989 new students joined us this year who have got fantastic capability and now have the support of Strathclyde to come here and get a Strathclyde education. And just last week, in this hall, we had the 3rd annual graduation of the Children's University, a charity that's led under the leadership of Jock Brown, who you may remember, a leading lawyer and erstwhile a football pundit from time to time. But the Children's University reaches out to communities around this city, bringing youngsters and their families to understand the value of education in colleges and universities. And I had 130 youngsters across this stage a week past Tuesday. As my colleagues know, I particularly like those ceremonies because it's one of the few that I get to look almost tall. It's great, these 5-year-olds looking up to me, but by the time I get to the 12-year-olds, I'm stretching again. But their parents were here. The first time they'd crossed the threshold of a university, understanding that education is the passport for success, recognising that they should be proud and appreciated in their communities. And Strathclyde will do all that it possibly can to make sure we keep our doors wide open for those that seek education and have the wherewithal to do it in terms of their intellect. So, as I move towards a conclusion, Let me characterise the University of Strathclyde in 2016. I think it's accurate to describe us as ambitious, focused and having momentum. And we have the agility and commitment to the delivery of our strategy so necessary to absorb the continuing challenges in our sector. It's a privilege for me to lead this wonderful institution with the superb support I get from my executive team, as well as my broader community of academics, professional staff and support staff. And I'm sure that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise that what we are doing today is the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. Strathclyde now seeks in this modern society to be an agent for positive change in Glasgow, in Scotland, in UK, and of course on the international scene. But most importantly, graduates, I believe that today's Strathclyders who are leaving this hall will have enormous impacts on society, that will face uncertainty with confidence, that will contribute to driving this country forward and making their impacts not only at home but internationally. And I'm sure that 2016 can become a vintage year. So in this context, and as you leave the hall today, you'll leave not only with an award, but also with a responsibility. Today's graduates now join a community of some 170,000 individuals worldwide. And whatever you do with your degree, and wherever you may choose to work, remember that as well as academic scholarship, useful learning also means applying your knowledge for the benefit of others, making a positive impact for yourselves and the communities you belong to, respecting diversity, valuing freedom of expression and thought, and reaching conclusions and resolving disputes by reason. These characterise the core values of your university. And finally, let me turn again to today's ceremony. We are all here to mark the fantastic achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees. So on behalf of the university, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to all of you and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us and let us know about your progress. Well done and enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, I've been giving the ancient signal of the thumbs up for the weather. Let's hope it stays okay for the next 10 minutes. So, as I close the ceremony, colleagues, the platform party and the students will make their way down the aisle here, and we will depart to the right towards the Lord Todd building, where there's a reception available to you, some refreshments. If the guests, family, friends would then come along with us, that would be wonderful, and we get a chance to speak to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, I hope it's been as enjoyable for you as it has been for us. It's another wonderful day. Thank you for being here, and I now declare this congregation closed. Thank you very much indeed.
That's